he fought for a little while, but we finally got him on. Hey, how's it going? Welcome to Planet BS. Hey, how's it going? Welcome back to Ohrmundt Simmentals. It is Monday afternoon, and I hope everybody had a really nice Easter weekend. Hope you got to spend some time with friends and family, all that good stuff. Had some good quality time. And hopefully now we can kind of get on a little bit more of a normal schedule. This morning when I was doing my checks, I did feed a little bit to that red steer calf, or, well, red bull calf. He will be a steer. So I did give him another half bottle. He has not latched on, but I am going to go and check out if he's figured it out yet. He better figure it out pretty soon. Alright, so we're going to throw this cow in the squeeze chute so we can fix that. Alright, he's still pretty dumb, but he fought for a little while, but we finally got him on. And he is figuring it out. It is about damn time. When we let these sides down, we can pivot them and use it as a ramp, but sometimes it's nicer that he can sit down there, and that way it puts her bag right in his face. But he did get a pretty decent meal. We took him to the other side. That one quarter, that first front quarter that we put him on, wasn't the greatest. I don't know. He went on the back, and then we took him to the front, and the other front quarter was really good, and he spent quite a bit of time on there. So he got a good meal. So hopefully this helps him, jog his natural instinct to be like, hey, this is where it comes from. Okay. So I just thought kind of to wrap up the day a little bit, I'd maybe go over the chart of the little hoof tape versus scale experiment, and then kind of just talk through. And, well, honestly, if you hit pause and look at it and read it, are you even going to be able to understand what I wrote? Maybe not. I understand. Trust me. Okay, so here is where we're at so far. What do we got here? 11 calves here. Just kind of looking at it, I mean, obviously this one, kind of a wild card. He's such a drastic difference. But we are talking mature cow. So, eagle should be a little bit lower birth weight, but mature cow, and she traditionally calves a little heavier. So I throw that one out. That's not a huge deal. Then we kind of look at this heifer fell within that range, that plus or minus 5-7 pounds. Barb's heifer calf was 10 over. Honestly, that doesn't really surprise me because she is a full blood. Full bloods tend to have a little bit bigger bone, which nothing wrong with that. Honestly, every single calf on here was born unassisted, right? I think so. Oh, wait. This guy right here, I helped just a little bit. Just a little bit, because I was out of a first calf heifer light pull. Because he was 82.78. But everybody else born unassisted. I still think it's definitely a good tool. I like the scale. The scale has been pretty easy. Actually, it's been better than I thought it would be. I thought they'd be a lot squirmier when they get in there. I mean, obviously, you guys have seen it. It's not exactly super, super bright in there. So I think kind of going on to something new and kind of a dark hole kind of thing, they're kind of like, what's going on? And then they pause for a second, and we have their weight. So it's worked out pretty good. We only had one that kind of, actually one that heifer that I had to pull that was backwards. I didn't hoof tape that one. Just honestly because she took a humongous dump and then laid in it. I don't know. it's not like she didn't have other options to lay down in. She just chose to lay down in the dumbest spot possible. So she was absolutely covered in stuff. So I'm like, we're just going to scale wear and that, and we're done. Looking at the numbers, there's no, heifer versus bull versus full blood. Both full bloods ran a little bit higher on the tape than they did on the scale. I'd also say when you look at, what do we got on there? 3 Brunos. There's no real difference in birth weight. Like I've mentioned before, Bruno did not affect our birth weights. I do not think Bruno is affecting our birth weights as far as like if you're concerned about having a full blood or a full blood Simmental on purebred cows. He is not. I don't think he is affecting our birth weights at all. And from the standpoint of having bigger frame, like saying there's a weight on a scale, and then obviously then you automatically know that the hoof tape weight is going to be a lot bigger. He's not showing that either, because we got a 93 on the scale and a 90, and then you had a 90 and a 95 on the tape, and then an 88 and then an 87 on the tape. So he's holding right there with all the other ones as far as his calves compared to other purebreds. So yeah, I mean, so far, and I'm going to keep doing it. My dad gives me grief about it every time we do it. But I still think it's kind of an interesting thing, and we'll keep it going. We got 12 more calves to go, and couple more full bloods, and obviously more coming out of Bruno. So we'll definitely have more numbers to compare. But that's kind of where we're at, kind of halfway through that test. And I'm going to have to go now to the top of the board. I'm not rewriting all that, by the way. Hey, how's it going? Welcome to Planet BS. Keeping it G-rated there. Yeah, so we're supposed to get a couple more inches of snow tonight. It's supposed to warm up, so it's all going to be gone in a couple of days anyways. So it's kind of a waste. But it's good moisture is what the nice thing. And we got a couple of cows here, so let's take a look. Like photo. Come on, photo. No, not yet. Photo was supposed to have a bold ruler, but that would have been like 2 weeks ago. So, oh well. She had a really nice steer calf out of Bruno last year, so I would be just fine with that. Another bull calf out of her. But yep, we're just gonna get some feeding done, and we're gonna get the heck out of here. That little red steer, red bull. I was kind of playing. I wanted to kind of play the game of let mom eat her ground feed, give him something, get him excited, pull away, walk away, do something, and then maybe he'll go over and start jumping on mom or something. At least trying. So he did almost a half a bottle, and then I took it away, walked away, and he went over by mom, and he actually jumped on one of the back quarters. But he was on that quarter for a little while, and he seems pretty content. He's probably got a pretty full belly now. So that's encouraging. I shouldn't have to feed him tomorrow morning. Hey, how's it going? It's Thursday afternoon. Happy Friday Eve. We are going to be bedding again, and that is the noise of rain falling onto the milk house roof. But we got to bed the calves again because the bale that we put in there yesterday is completely non-existent. So that's always a sweet thing. Hey, Factor. Hey, Bubba. And he's just chilling like a villain out in his area back here. All right, so I'm upstairs in the barn. We got all of our feeding done and the bedding we wanted to get done. But I think I might have mentioned about putting up that temp line south of the BDA area, south of the hay bales, so that we can put those cows on that field back there. So I'm upstairs in the barn, kind of where I stash all of my temp line stuff, my posts and my reels and everything. I need 2 reels, and I need a bunch of posts, and I need at least 1 T-post. I want 1 good corner post. For this, since I'm doing 2 lines, the funny thing is they get so intertangled. So here's, my brother actually made this for me. This is on the back of the chute. He just made a bunch of racks for me that I can stack all my posts on. So they kind of get all discombobulated. And as soon as you start pulling one out, then one's stuck to like 10 of them, and they all start coming together. And then I can store some of my metal posts down here, and then reels are hung up over here. So this is a 3/8 fiberglass rod, and then it's got different spots. And then it's got the step in. These I just get at Fleet Farm. I don't like these if I'm taking fence in and out a lot. If this post is going to go in and it's going to stay in for a couple of weeks, maybe 3 weeks, then I like these because they are a little bit sturdier. I have hardly broke any of these, like actually broke them, like broke the fiberglass. So I like using these. So I'll take probably like 10 of them. And then I need 2 reels. So, all right. I'll bring you guys back when I get down there. All right, so I made it out here. So this is the south line of the bales. So I'm not sure. I'm probably gonna run my line right up against here, and I'm probably gonna end up moving this. And then we'll move this because we have plenty of room over next to the cornstalk bales and the other gravity box. And then that corner post is probably going to end up in here somewhere. And then the fence is going to shoot pretty much straight towards that power pole and the drag over there. We want to leave enough of a gap there, enough of a spot where we can drive and be able to clean out the bull area. And also, I wish I could find these insulators again. I'm just trying to make sure I have enough line, so I'm just setting it up like I normally would. And if you remember, what I usually do is, so if this is going to end up being my bottom line, then I'll wrap it around this bottom line, and then I'll put the handle up here, so that as I'm putting tension on here, it also will start pulling down on here to give this insulator a little bit of support, and it seems to work out pretty good. But this is only temporary. This is only until I find out if I have enough line. All right, way more than enough line. So these two guys I put really close, and then we move these guys out of here. Then I'll bump them out. When we do like electric, like our permanent fence, we'll pace out like 10 or 11 steps in between electric posts, you know, when we put like metal line in. Temp line, I will go like 20-ish, you know, give or take, depending on my terrain. These guys, I did this with like the 10, only because this is going to be where calves are going to be, so I don't want as much sag in the line. So that helps with that, especially with the temp has a little more sag, and I'm not putting as much tension on it as I would a normal metal electric line. And then I just want to match up insulator heights with one of my temp posts. So, just at least so they're close. They don't got to be dead on. And we are going to use, oh, I shouldn't use that one, but we're going to use this spot. We'll match up with that one, and then we'll match up with that one. And with this fence too, I'm not worried. Like if I was doing temp line out in a pasture, with these guys, that's one of the reasons I don't like these as much out on the pasture, because this setting, the one that I like the most, So this guy, when it's stepped in the ground, this one I think is actually too low. I like it up here a little more, like 2 inches higher. But for this scenario, I'm not worried about the cows getting out. That's not my issue. I want the calves staying in. So the other thing that I'll be doing too is going around this field, and on the bottom line, this field has 2-line electric around the whole thing. And on the bottom line, some of it's still there, but I put chunks of blaze orange duct tape on the bottom. I'll put like 2 chunks in between each post, and that way the calves see it for the electric until they get used to it, and then I also can see it from a distance, like, oh hey, that fence is down, so you can go check it out. All right, so not a huge project for this evening, but little something. I didn't throw those couple of posts in because that's where I want to drag, and I left them off to the side, and that's also why I kind of pulled the lines away from that area so that when I do drag in there, I got a little more space. I might have to actually move another one of those posts, but that's all right. And then the drag will end up over where these guys are going to end up. Hey, how's it going? Happy Friday. Just getting home from work, and it is really nice outside. Finally got a halfway decent day. I mean, like sunshine, which is really nice. And apparently we had a calf this morning. I came out, my normal check time, it was like 4:30, came out, nothing. I just happened to look at the cameras at like 8 o'clock, and here's a calf that went from north of the border with our other cows, and she's like, the calf's like, must have got under the gate and is in with the new bull, stuck in the mud. So Dad had to come over here and wrestle that thing out of here. So now let's go take a peek at it. I think it's pretty, whew, got some on my glasses. I think it's still pretty dirty. Yep, still pretty dirty. And I got to get this girl some bedding. But this little thing, not so little, but let's find out what it is. Because Dad actually said I can't tell what it is because there's so much mud. So yeah, that's another heifer. So right now I'm just running some water. Dad's watching so he can shut it off. And got these guys some fresh bedding. And this girl is still pretty darn dirty. And Mom's not overly excited about us. But at least she was good earlier. And we also ended up bedding these calves again. So the third time this week. So not a huge week. Honestly, is pretty much dealing with mud and moisture and snow and water and bedding and more bedding and more bedding. So this weekend should be pretty decent. Dad's heading down to Point to watch my nephew play some baseball. I told him I'm going to try and get the gravity box full. And then there's a couple other little things I want to try and do tomorrow too. So I'm going to call it the end of the day, end of the week. Hope you guys liked the video. Please comment, like, subscribe. If you got any questions, please leave them. And thanks for coming along.